Josh Elliott has been with us all season long, showing us different ways that football has brought people together. And Josh, you have another moving story this morning. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a very special one, Savannah, about two men who actually met first as opponents on the football field, separated by lines neither would dare cross in a very different America a long time ago. Two men then who would overcome it all and end up lifelong friends.
Put this in there, please.
Carl Bisecker, George Taliaferro, played in a football game. Carl Bisecker took it upon himself to introduce himself and to congratulate George Taliaferro. We are going to simply close the circle tomorrow.
In a matter of hours, two men who share a most unlikely friendship will reunite after more than 60 years apart.
This is like being reconnected with family. And from there, we'll let it happen.
Exactly as it happened in October 1944, following a hard-fought high school football game in Gary, Indiana, when Carl Bisecker, playing for all-white Horace Mann High, publicly congratulated George Taliaferro, the star of all-black Roosevelt High, an act not entirely well received in a town split by Jim Crow.
Shook my hand and said, George, it was a pleasure to play football against you.
That was basically the beginning of our friendship.
How good a player was he?
He was good, even though we beat him.
After high school, both would serve in World War II before meeting again when they returned to play football for Indiana University, this time as teammates. 2 years before Jackie Robinson crossed baseball's color line, Taliaferro was a three-time All-American at IU. In 1949, he then became the first African-American drafted by an NFL team and played professionally for 6 years. Following his retirement, he and Carl, both now married, returned to IU for graduate work.
And it was then that we really became close together.
Tell me about the time you and Carl went to go see a movie on a Tuesday.
I had made up in my mind that I was not going to obey segregation signs. And I knew that Carl could sit downstairs. And I took that screwdriver and removed that sign, colored. I have that sign today.
After a few years, Carl and his wife Lucy moved to Arizona, while George made Indiana University and Bloomington his home. And the friends fell out of touch until a few years ago. As Carl suffered through the final years of Lucy's fight with Alzheimer's, he wanted to reach out to his old friend.
He says, you remember George Taliaferro? And I said, yeah. He said, I'd really like to talk to him.
She gave me a telephone call.
And all he said was, Carl Bisecker, huh? What a gentleman. Your father was my friend when it was not politically correct to be my friend.
The friends became just that, all over again, over weekly phone conversations. Then, in 2013, Carl's wife passed. A year later, he suffered a stroke. And in recovery, he had one request.
We got to call George. I've got to hear his voice.
Carl had become a resident at Brookdale Senior Living, which partners with the Wish of a Lifetime Foundation to help make its residents' lifelong dreams come true. His wish was simple, to see his dear friend George again.
I can't wait to shake his hand and give him a big hug.
What are you feeling right now?
A little bit of emotion. Just the way it is.
Let's go see your friend. And then, a moment almost 7 decades and 2 lifetimes in the making.
Carl, how you doing, baby?
How you doing?
Oh, it can't be much better than this.
Bless you. It's been a long time, George.
Boy, it really has.
A moment far more than worth their wait.
Well, you really look good. I'm serious.
I had a stroke in my left arm.
Yeah, well then all I have to do is run around your left side and you can't do anything. You have been a mainstay in my life. The manner in which you encompassed me as a human being.
Two men whose lives and friendship are testament to what can come from one simple handshake.
How magnificent it is to just say hello as a greeting to another person, and look what it can turn into. Because that's really what it's all about.
And two men leading us still, two examples of truly the greatest generation, and really, Savannah, an example of the unifying power of sport.
Yeah, and I just love to see when they met each other after all those years.